What's up, guys? This is OmegaLiar, and today I'm bringing you what is, without a question, my best game ever. Not necessarily kill to death ratio wise, but as far as sheer amount of kills, objective plays, kill streaks, all of that stuff makes this by far my best game slash highest scoring game, whatever you want to call it. You can probably tell from the title, 75-3, 25 kill to death ratio. At one point I have a kill streak going of about 46. And there's a lot of things that attribute to that, but let me talk about my setup real quick. I'm running the Orbital VSAT, the Warthog, and the Swarm, and those three together, I mean, not only now being one of my favorite combos, but they all just they cycle each other. The Orbital VSAT almost always gets you the Warthog, whether it's you getting kills or your teammates getting kills, and the Warthog just significantly makes the process of getting the Swarm a lot easier. So those three kill streaks together, they cycle through each other, they really complement each other well, and if you're going for high kill streaks, I think these three are basically the best way you can go. Also, it depends on the map. For an open map like this, Warthog is destruction. But the weapon I'm using is the, obviously, Type25 with a silencer and fast mags. And I've always liked this gun. I said it in the tips and tricks commentary I did for it a while back towards the beginning of the game that this is one of my favorite guns. Still is. Obviously I don't have gold for it. I have the only gun I have gold is the SMR, but I do use this one a lot. I'm about to throw it into its second prestige. It'll be one of 3, and I think it's important because the fact that the Type 25 is one of my favorite guns and a gun that I do well with, and also attributing the fact that this is a sort of medium to long range map, I think is actually a huge part of why I had so much success in this gameplay. I mean, it works out in any case. If you're using one of your better guns in a map that's suited for that gun, you're gonna do well. It's how you maneuver the map that really determines how well you're going to do. And in this case, on Carrier, in Domination, when I'm using the kill streaks I am, and I have the accumulated knowledge that I have, it works out well. Basically, being able to predict these spawns, being able to predict where my enemies are going to be, and setting myself up so that I get engagements on my terms is essentially what allows me to absolutely destroy these people. Keep in mind, you don't necessarily need a party to do this. You just have to know where your teammates are. I am running solo in this game. I wasn't actually expecting to ever do this kind of well. Usually, when I get these beastly scores, it's with a team who's constantly orbital VSAT, that kind of thing, but it just goes to show it's not necessary. It's all about map knowledge and map awareness, and that's what really brings in those high kill streaks. On top of that, the perks are important. I'm using, I am using actually a lot of perks. I have Hardline, Ghost, Scavenger, Toughness, and Dexterity. And I basically give up a secondary weapon and all of my equipment in order to do that. But I personally find that while equipment can be useful, more often than not, the extra perk will come in handy. Because I was running the high streaks, I find that Scavenger is almost entirely necessary. And then on top of that, Toughness is just as necessary in general because the way the game works. So those two together I felt like were a must. Then on top of that, Hardline and Ghost. Hardline, it just makes everything easier, and then Ghost, if you're going to be rushing around, if you're going to be holding a spawn trap by yourself essentially, and if you're going to be running the front lines, Ghost is actually a very useful perk. 46-2 at the first half, just pointing that out. So all the perks that I'm using, obviously Dexterity for rushing, all the perks that I'm using, they really add up to the kind of advantage that I have over the enemy. Now sure, they might be able to get a few kills from frag grenades, but I rarely rely on explosives or anything like that to get my kills. The closest thing I'll do to that is something like EMP grenades for assist points and destroying equipment. But for the most part, your points are going to be coming from your gun, so that's the focus of this class. An unfortunate death there from a lightning strike out of a care package. But I think those are the important things to take in mind. There's not much more I can really say to that. The rest of it comes down to gun skill. It's a matter of you actually winning your gunfights as opposed to being in the right position and then sort of not really focusing, not really trying to get it as fast as possible. Because there's one thing you always have to keep in mind, and that's even if you're in a better position, you're not always going to win 100% of the time. So, aside from that, there's not really many other tips I can give for this. Obviously, you want to know spawns. That's personally why I prefer Domination. The spawns are the most predictable. They're not always predictable, but they're the most predictable, and that allows me to set up and not be taken by surprise if someone comes up behind me. I mean, obviously the idea is to not let them come up behind you, but that's besides the point. So yeah, as far as tips, that's all I can really say, but I think that's all that's really important to know. If you keep all that stuff in mind in any game mode, you're going to do at least better, if anything. But the other thing I wanted to talk about is a change that I noticed this weekend when I was playing. My score per minute increased 15. I went from 300 to 315 points. My kill to death ratio rose 0.05, which may not seem like a lot, but going from a 3.30 to a 3.28 to 3 whatever it was, it increased by 0.05, and that I don't know why. I was having all of these beastly gameplays, 2 KD like minimum almost, and more often than not pulling out orbital VSATs, warthogs, VTOL warships, lodestars, and all that stuff like it was nothing. That's something that's a little bit unusual for me. So I almost feel like there's like some form of change in the matchmaking system or something like that, but whatever it was, I really enjoyed. I had an awesome time with the game this particular weekend, and I hope to continue this upward rise. But you see right there, picked up a 3rd swarm at the end of the game, didn't have time to call it in, which is unfortunate, but I go 75-3. Best gameplay in my Call of Duty career. I was very happy about it then, and you see the other thing that contributed, I got 1,400 points from capturing objectives or something like that. So, as always, if you like these kinds of beastly videos, amazing scores, I got more coming for you, whether it's mine or someone else's. But as always, comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next commentary. Thank you for watching. I appreciate a like, and that's about it. Have a nice day.